So yeah, I've been busy prepping for New York Comic Con, and so finally had a little bit of time. Yes, uh, honey, show mommy what you can do. Anyway, so um, yeah, so I had some time to watch a shitty movie because good movies don't really hit streaming services as fast, you know. So um, so yeah, I finally watched the Crow movie. They claim this movie isn't a remake. It's its own entity and blah blah blah. And I get that because the source material is, like a comic and all that stuff, and it's not necessarily just remaking what Brandon Lee and company and all that stuff have done, but at the same time, people are gonna think that. People are gonna think that. It's like in 2019 when they redid Hellboy, and then people were like, "Oh, you're not Ron Perlman," you know. But anyway, so this wasn't good. If it wasn't already obvious from everything, the trailers, the pictures, and all that shit, it was not good. Why would you think this was good? I didn't think this was good. I knew going in this wasn't gonna be good. The crow, the guy, the crow. That guy, the crow. The guy. Why do I sound like I work at like a pier at 2 a.m.? The crow. The whole thing. He dies. His lady also dies. They both die, but then he comes back and seeks revenge. The difference between this one and the previous one is that like this one like took too long to get to something to happen. So whereas the old one, it's weird to say the OG one, the Brandon Lee one, that one starts immediately. Crime scene, who would get married on Halloween? A bunch of freaks, all that other stuff. Dead bodies. You're like, holy shit, what's this? Little girl is like, what happened? Oh my god, I'm riding my skateboard. Da da da. Funny enough, I actually did a market recently, and the actress who played the little girl was there. That one started, whereas this one was just like, oh, I'm Eric Draven and I'm in this like rehab facility. Look at how, weird I am with my shitty tattoos and my shitty haircut. I'm weird. No, why is everyone bullying me for being, weird and all that stuff? And it's like, oh my god. And then the woman, like freaking Shelly gets caught with like possession of drugs, and then she gets sent to the same rehab facility, and then they like see each other. They have a fucking meet cute in the fucking, lunchroom, and it's like, oh, he's sitting by himself, and then I'm gonna go and oh wait, no, she's British. She's like, oh, I see him sitting by himself. Okay, I'll stop. I see him sitting by himself. I'm gonna go talk to him with his like awful all that stuff, and then like they fall madly in love, blah blah blah. But it's like even for a bitch who watches enough horrible rom-coms, like this was even like, okay, no man, this ain't happening. It's like, yeah, you fall madly in love due to just the circumstance of you guys being at this like facility. It's like, oh yeah. You're so fucking in love. Yeah, like you're both stuck there, and it's like, well, I guess I'm hot, you're hot, I guess. For circumstances, no, they're in love. Oh yeah, and so like. And that part, like, again, it takes like 30 minutes to talk about that, like the backstory, why they're together and why he's gonna like kill a bunch of people. But at the same time, it's like the other movie didn't need to do that. Like it just starts off with like they're gonna get married, they got killed, they're dead, holy shit. And then when Eric comes back to life a year later, and he stumbles into like his apartment, and you get the quick flashbacks of like them like in love, and like she's trying on the dress, and like you get it, you get their like they love each other real quick. You got it, they love each other, they are all that. This one, even in the description, this newer one, even in like the description, plot summary, whatever thing, was like soulmates and da da da, and I'm like, oh, why did you? Like, why are you? They were soulmates. Oh my god! Might as well be like, I'm from a small town and I moved to the city. And what's funny is that this takes place in frickin' in Chicago, and then they like in the beginning they showed that building that they freaking utilized in both the Nolan Batman movie and the freaking Matt Reeves Batman movie. That building in Chicago, I don't know what it is, but they utilized the same building. So then this one, they showed that building because it's gonna be like a hoity-toity place, and I'm just like, am I like? And you kind of get debated because you're like watching, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, am I going to watch a Batman movie? Nah, it's a Crow, you know? You're like, son of a bitch, it's the Crow. So, yeah, so like it takes 30 minutes to establish this relationship of like them like being in this like rehab mental place, wherever the fuck they were somewhere, and then they break out, which was so funny. Like breaking out of the thing was so like not inconsequential, but it was just so like okay, it was just kind of like, oh no. The people are looking for me. I gotta get out of here. And he's like, oh, there's windows in the laundry room, and she takes her to the laundry room. He goes, oh, I somehow have a razor blade on me. Let me cut off your easily cut offable, that's a word, tracker device, ankle bracelet thing. And then she's like, okay, let me climb this thing. Then he's like, wait a second. Slices his off. I'm breaking out too. Okay, I mean, you could have done this the whole time, bro. But you're like, I just had to wait for this British chick with the duck lips kind of stuff. You know what's so funny is that like it took me a minute to be like, oh, her name is FKA Twigs. I've heard of her. I don't really know her music like that, but I always read her name as "fuck out of here, Twigs." I don't know what it is. Maybe that's also very like tri-state area. I mean, fuck out of here. Again, she's British. And so I don't know why. Like every time I've like read her name, I always read it as, oh yeah, it's fuck out of here, Twigs. I've never said that out loud. I've just been like, oh, it's the Twigs girl. I usually refer to her as, because my brain has a moment where it's like, don't say that out loud. Like people think you're stupid, People think I'm stupid, not that I am. Anyway, so whatchamacallit, yeah, so they escape, and then all of a sudden it's like, cool, they're like traveling vagrants or whatever, and it just all looks like very unwashed people. Oh shit, very like unwashed people, because they're like, oh, we're like in like a field and we're dancing, or like, oh hey, it's like that one picture that was like being passed around where like he's at like the campfire thing and he looks like the freaking Die Atwood dude, and it's like, she's like dancing in the field, and then he's like, oh, look at the campfire, and then she's like, she's like, yeah, I do music. I don't know why I'm giving her that voice where she's like British again. I keep having, but I just feel like it just adds to, you get why I feel this way. Anyway, so like it's just not a good movie, and so that happens, and so then like fine, they die, but it's not like, oh, mobsters came and shot them. It was just like, okay, the people that were looking after her found them. I guess you can't be vagrant that long, kind of thing, and then like they both drown. And then he gets like, brought back to life. But he ends up going to like an old abandoned like rail yard, kind of like where they like filmed like Fear.com. It's like, oh, that's where the warehouse is that started this website that kills people. It's like, all right, and so. God, and so they're there with Kronos, and then made me think, oh man, probably I haven't played God of War in ages, and it's there like an afterlife purgatory thing, and it's like, Kronos is like, I will send you back so you can like right a wrong or whatever the fuck, and like fix the situation. So then like he comes back to life, and he's just like, I'm totally like cool looking now because I'm shirtless, with a trench coat on, totally don't look like a skeevy, like, flasher kind of thing. And he's going around like fighting the people, and then they're shooting him, and then he's like, oh, look at that, I don't die, which, yeah, that's what they did in the other one. But then it would be like, there was one part where like, he would fight the people, whatever, and then all of a sudden he gets shot up, like, like, like in a bathroom, full, like, Denzel Training Day thing, falls into the tub, and then he pops back up from the water of the rail yard. He's like, why am I back here? And Kronos is like, it's because you started, like, because he, like, started learning more about the girl that, he met for, like, 2 seconds at the place, and then suddenly we're in love kind of thing. And he starts learning more about her, and it wasn't even, like, that, like, detrimental to be like, oh no, bitch is lying. But it was just, like, because he didn't believe. It's like, Peter Pan, clap your hands, you didn't fucking believe, our love, pure, whatever shit. So his love, like, for her lowered or whatever. So then that like, the love for her, it was what was keeping him invincible. Like, I can't even speak. It was just like, oh, believe, I believe in love. Like the end of fucking Wonder Woman, I believe in love. I bring you peace, I bring you love. Like, oh my god. And so then, Kronos is like, you gotta believe, you gotta love the bitch, that you barely know, but you love her. You guys fuck, so, there's love there. He's like, believe, and he's like, I'll send you back, and then he, like, sends him back, and he, like, pops up from the fucking tub, all, like, oh, and then there was, like, the black oil thing, and then, like, that's what comes, like, the makeup, and then the makeup kind of looks like his Pennywise look, which is like, okay, instead of it being red, it's black. And again, no white makeup, just shitty, it's just bad. And then he comes back, and it's like, oh, I'm alive, bang, bang, bang. And then it's like, and it's funny because when he comes walking out of the bathroom, and then music goes on, and I immediately was like, they did not cue the third act music. Well, I looked at the progress bar, right there was third act music. Holy fuck. So they freaking cue the third act music, and then it becomes that part in the trailer you see where they're at, like, an opera house or something, and then they fucking, he fucking goes and, like, wrecks up shop, which, again, the violence in that movie is fun. It's very John Wick. It's like, cool, man. Like, I get it. I'm all for, like, insanely violent action films. Hello, I watched all 4 John Wick movies. This motherfucker was in the 4th John Wick movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get it. We're all for that, but we don't want, like, clones. You know what I mean? It's like when Statham did, like, Beekeeper, it was like a fucking, it's like after Hereditary came out, and then all these other movies were trying to do, like, generational trauma, grief is horror shit, and it's like, it's just, I'm sorry, man, like, so it's like, yeah, the action stuff was, like, insane. It was fun, but it wasn't like, it doesn't save the movie. There's movies where, like, yeah, it was bad, but, like, just watch it for, like, the violence, just watch it for the XYZ. No, like, here, like, don't watch it. Don't watch it. I watch it because I'm stupid, and I love watching bad things, I only treat myself to the good stuff here and there, but it's like, here's the bad stuff. That's how mentally ill I am. I'm like, give me that bad shit, But yeah, so it's like, it's not... Also, yeah, it's not like, okay, so in the previous movie, it does a thing where, like, it happened, and then a year later, he comes back, and he's like, oh, from the grave, kind of stuff. This was just like, cool... She's dead, you're dead, kind of, you're alive, you were able to be saved, but, in the midst of you gaining consciousness back, Kronos, tells Kratos, I mean, never mind. So, you come back, da-da-da. Anyway, so, he fights the big bad, he ends up, like, winning, I guess you would say winning. He tells Kronos, he's like, oh, like, change, like, I'll change places, the ultimate love, the sacrifice thing, so it's like, cool, and then at the end it's like, it throws back to they were recovered from the water drowning scene, and it said now, it's like Kronos in EMT form, is like, helping Shelly out, and she's like, huh, what? huh? What? Can't fully close my mouth. Is it my top lip? Or is it my teeth? You know? And so she's alive and he's like dead. And it's like, no. And also, like, in the other movie, like, Eric was like a musician. Yeah, okay. I was worried I was about to say magician instead of musician, so I was like, God, see, this movie has rendered me stupid, or stupider, really. And so, in the end, like, love wins, all that stuff. It's like a fucking lawn sign. Um, love wins, all that shit, and yeah, there you go. That's the story. And like the movie doesn't really like sequel bait, but it kind of like felt like it wanted to leave something open ended, even though like we're done, the story is done. Even though the other Crow thing had like, was it like three sequels, so in total it was like four movies, and then I think there was like a TV show. I've never watched the other ones. I think, what was it? The Crow movie that came out in, I think, the 2000s or something. The second or third one has like David Boreanaz in it. That's all I know. And even then, I haven't watched it yet. I just know that I was like, oh, David Boreanaz in Sunlight. I remember just seeing screenshots or something of it. I just went, oh man, it's still weird. Like it's like seeing, what's his name, who played Spike in Sunlight. You're so used to these like actors, playing fucking vampires that when you see them in Sunlight, you're like, no. Anyway, so yeah, that was the Crow movie. It wasn't good, obviously. If you like, the general consensus is not good. No one's been thinking this is good. I mean, I've seen there have been like a couple like Letterboxd reviews that were giving it like 4 stars, and I'm just like, I wish I could be you. I wish I knew what it's like to, I almost was gonna start singing Behind Blue Eyes. Oh God, my. All right, so my camera overheated, and I I don't blah. So yeah, my camera overheated and I don't have much extra else to say. So yeah, so like I said, the Crow movie sucks. Duh. No one's surprised by that. Um I don't know why they thought this was smart. And it's not even the whole like this is disrespectful to Brandon Lee and all that stuff. Yeah, of course. Like how terrible this movie is, it is disrespectful to Brandon Lee. Like I don't have an issue with them being like, oh, we're gonna make a thing. It has been like 30 years. I get it. That's just where we are in the state of movie making, where we're just like, oh, that's a thing people like. We'll just make it again, but worse. But again, if this was made and it was better or equally as good, fine. You know, but it wasn't. So yeah, I agree. This is disrespectful to Brandon Lee. This is disrespectful to the original movie. The soundtrack was disrespectful to the original soundtrack. Like, this was not good. This was not a wise decision for them to make to do this. It was horrible. Again, it felt like, especially the third, like half of the second act, the third act, felt like a John Wick, you know, freaking clone. And it's like, oh, we don't want that. And then again, like the fact that they, for some reason, needed this extra 30 minutes in the beginning of the movie to explain this freaking like love story of them, when again you didn't need to, because again in the previous movie they did that real quick and you got it. You know what I mean? Because this movie is, funny enough, about 30 minutes longer than the other movie, because of this whole like, oh, we just gotta it's just, and the mental facility thing was really dumb, or rehab center or whatever. The fact that she got put in there because she had like drug possession, I don't know what in this weird future past world it is that like you just get committed for having drugs. I'm like, okay. um because it wasn't like technically prison, but it was definitely, like it doesn't like fully establish all that stuff. And also, like, I had to like go and look up some, like I was like, am I stupid? I had to go look up further information on the movie because I was confused at first in the beginning, where they're like, yo, I got this video footage and we can like like get this guy. And like I couldn't tell what was incriminating about the footage because it was like a party, and like it wasn't even like party and people were like booting black tar heroin or something. It was just kind of someone being like, yeah, and other people being like, like dancing, and then they're like, we got him, and I was like, huh. And then, oh my god, I forgot to even mention. Oh my god, actually, I was about to be done. I forgot to mention with the other camera that freaking the bad guy in the movie has like freaking powers, and so like he can make someone kill someone by just like like freaking practicing his freaking like deathcore vocals in someone's ears. He was like and then someone was just like, cool, I'm gonna like jump off this building. It's like the purple man and Jessica Jones. It was like, oh, you just controlled me, I didn't know you did. And it's and then all of a sudden you're like, like, okay. I was like, huh, and again, I don't know the comics like that. Like maybe there was something I missed or whatever. Like, but it's just the fact that like I wasn't prepared for that, and it was so weird because like, okay, yeah, big bad, he's a bad guy, and all of a sudden he was just like, yeah, like into someone's ear, and they're like, the eyes are turning white, and all of a sudden they're like stabbing themselves, or they're like stabbing other people, or again jumping off a building kind of stuff, and it was like, okay, bitch, what? So yeah, God, I can't believe I forgot to mention that stupid thing. Yeah. Like, okay, yeah, sure. But yeah, like I said, the movie was not good. It's not. It's not. I'm sorry, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not good.